How is he only a 90 overall? You have Richard Sherman, some old man who can't run for jack.
You need to put respect on Zach Ertz's name and a bunch of other tight ends that should be higher than Rob Gronkowski.
The man hasn't played since 2018. He's not going to be the NL MVP.
And then he goes onto an Instagram live where he seems to have been under the influence, smoking a cigar.
I don't think MVP is indicative of the best player in the league.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are hitting episode number 40 today. Another big milestone for Go Chat. We just keep on plugging and chugging. We're so happy to be bringing you the sports content 2 times a week. We're so happy to be here. I have Mike, Matt, and Tommy, the usual cast. We're going to get right into it. We have a very special episode planned out for you. We're going to talk about the MLB postseason. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. And we're going to talk about the struggling Jets and the NFL. But as you know, we always start with our Go to the Number segment. It is big number 40. Matt Kane, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to go with Gale Sayers. He played on the Chicago Bears, unfortunately passed on the 23rd of September. So rest in peace to him. But he was a great running back for the Bears. Of course, you know, I hate the Bears, honestly, with all my football passion. But definitely a great player. He's a Hall of Famer, 5-time All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowl, Offensive Rookie of the Year in 1965. And he did this in only 7 years. So that's kind of remarkable.
Tommy, who's your pick here?
Well, my person played a lot more than 7 years. He's played 21 big league seasons.
Probably not better, though.
What?
Probably not better, though.
He is better. It's Bartolo Colon, a fan favorite. I can't even tell you how many organizations he's played for. He's played for Cleveland, the Angels, the Mets, the A's, the White Sox, the Twins, the Braves, the Red Sox, Rangers, Expos, Yankees. He's played for everybody. He's been around forever. And I think he's just one of those guys that everybody likes. He won a Cy Young. He was a 4-time All-Star as well. I know that Mike likes him. He hit that big home run against the Padres a few years ago. He's just a fan favorite, and he was really good as well. 247 career wins. His ERA was okay, 4.12, but he had a 45.8 career WAR. And, you know, Bartolo Colon, he's just the best, so I had to go with him this week.
Mike, who's your pick here?
You know, it's kind of tough for me. Gale Sayers is a fantastic player. But honestly, even though he did great stuff in only 7 seasons in the NFL, I got to go with my man, big, sexy Bartolo Colon. I mean, every time that just hunk of lard just stepped onto the mound, he was just an absolute spectacle to watch. I'm not necessarily saying he was a better baseball player than Gale Sayers was a football player, but this guy, he was just someone that everyone loves, even to this day. I mean, that home run against the San Diego Padres is historic. Nothing like that will ever happen again. I remember when that happened. I still get chills to this day about it. I mean, Bartolo Colon, not only was he a spectacle, he was actually a really good player too. Over 2,500 strikeouts, and Tommy mentioned the rest of the stats. And this guy is just the definition of longevity. You know, I didn't even notice he won a Cy Young Award. I know Gale Sayers did great things, but I'm going to go with Bartolo Colon here. And a shout out to Sean Kemp. He was Gary Payne's partner in crime, 3-time All-NBA player and 6-time All-Star. So shout out to him too. But Big Sexy is my pick.
I am so disappointed in Mike and Matt here. Not necessarily Tommy, because Tommy's not a big football guy in general. But I'm very disappointed for the fact that neither of you mentioned Pat Tillman. Pat Tillman is my go to the week this week for this number. And it's not because of his on-the-field play. He did have one season where he had over 100 tackles. He had 3 career interceptions, but it's not for his on-the-field play. We all know Pat Tillman's story. He decided in June of 2002, after the September 11th attacks, to fight for his country over in Afghanistan, where he was fatally shot and killed in line of war. And he's been honored throughout the NFL. He has an award named after him in the ESPYs Awards, which is for the sports every year, that honors veterans who have survived their tasks over in Afghanistan. And Pat Tillman is just definitely a big role model for a lot of people, not necessarily sports fans, not necessarily people in the military. Just he's a role model for a lot of people that sometimes you just have to give up what you love to do what you have to do and to fight for the country that you love. And that's the reason why Pat Tillman is my goat of the number this week.
Yeah, you got me there. I was not thinking that. But that's
Yeah.
obviously – that's a great pick. I would have went with that if I remembered that it was 40.
That is a great pick, Connor. I mean, you really can't dispute the courage and bravery he had to go fight in Afghanistan. So, great pick, Connor.
No disrespect to Gale Sayers or Bartolo Colon at all. I'm seriously
All disrespect to Cologne. All disrespect to Cologne.
not disappointed with those picks at all. I just felt like it was necessary. I've been waiting for number 40 to come around so that I could honor Pat Tillman, and I'm lucky to have been able to do that today.
Well, I think that is a great way to end. Thank everyone. Thank whoever, if you're watching, if you're a veteran or, deployed right now or wherever you are, if you were ever in the military, thank you for your service. But we will head into our baseball talk. I'm sure Tommy's pretty excited about the playoffs.
Always a great week. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
Get fired up.
Poland Spring, they rejected us once, but we're still trying, and we're going to have a sponsorship with them by the end of the month. So Poland Spring, natural water, we love it. All right, go and buy it today. Hello, everybody. We're back. It was a great first week of the postseason. My Yankees won. There were some surprises as well. We're going to get into it. But, guys, who was your biggest surprise of the first week of the postseason? I'll start with you, Connor.
There were quite a bit of surprises. Now, obviously, we're filming this on Friday afternoon. It's around 4:30. So the Marlins and Cubs game 2 is still going on. Marlins are up. Tommy, I think, just said to us 2-0 in the 7th inning. So Marlins win that game. Marlins are undoubtedly the biggest surprise. But I'm going to go off the games that have already completed. And I'm going to say that my biggest surprise is probably the Houston Astros. I don't want to say that because I'm not a big fan of the Houston Astros. But I was a firm believer in the Minnesota Twins. I thought they could have had a very deep run into the postseason, and their postseason woes wound up continuing, and Houston swept them in the 3-game series and is moving on now to play Oakland. Oakland and Houston have had some bad blood in the past. We can get into that into a maybe next week's episode for our MLB. But it's going to be a good series, and Houston definitely surprised me this past weekend.
Yeah, that's a really good pick, Connor. They surprised me as well. Mike, who do you have?
I got to be honest. The lack of pitching from the Cleveland Indians shocked me. The way that Bieber got absolutely rocked in that first game. He was undoubtedly the best pitcher in baseball this season, 1.63 ERA. I'm pretty sure he led the whole majors in strikeouts. He comes out, lets up a home run on the first pitch to Aaron Judge, the second at-bat of the game for the Yankees. And just from there on, he gets absolutely rocked throughout the whole game. I think he allowed 7 earned runs throughout his outing. He was absolutely horrible. And then the second game, Carrasco got kind of roughed up too. And then Brad Hand enters the 9th inning with a 1-run lead. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a pretty darn good closer, right? He comes in. He has a chopper ground ball right to him. He bobbles it in his glove. He could have at least had 2 out, if not maybe 3, right? That could have been the game right there. But instead, he bobbles it, and the bases are loaded with 0 outs. He basically hands the game to the Yankees. I mean, it was just horrible pitching from the Cleveland Indians. I was shocked. If there was one thing I could have guaranteed you this weekend, I could have guaranteed you that Shane Bieber would allow 2 runs or less. And that didn't happen, and that absolutely shocked me. Credit to the Yankees. They lived up to their name, the Bronx Bombers, but that shocked me this weekend.
Yeah, those are all good points. What about you, Matt?
There's no surprises for me since my bracket's 100%.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know. I'd have to
I
disagree
picked
there,
the
Becky.
Astros. I said the Astros were gonna win based on really no evidence. I had no.
You were like, Astros are gonna win, no reason whatsoever.
I mean, so when you're asking me what surprises are there, I got everything right, but I'd say the Marlins at this point, or I could say the Cardinals too, even though isn't that tied up 1-1?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, Cardinals kind of blew the game last night, to be honest.
Yeah. Tatis Jr. though, 2 electrifying home runs last night. Pretty incredible. The bat flips at the end of them both were also pretty electrifying.
Tommy, what is your biggest surprise?
There were so many surprises. It was a great week. Probably the Astros. I'd have to agree with you, Connor. I definitely didn't think that they were going to make it out of the wild card series, but they did. I was also surprised that the Cincinnati Reds. I'm not surprised to see that the Braves won, but the Reds were just completely shut down. They didn't even score a run in those 2 games. But Trevor Bauer was outstanding, so want to give credit to him. The Marlins.
22 innings. 22. That's
I
insane.
know. Matt Cain did have that pick, so give credit to Matt Cain.
I mean,
And Mike.
And Mike. I'm sorry. That was Mike's only win of the week, so I kind of forgot. But I'm just kidding, Mike. But I was pleasantly surprised. I don't want to say I was surprised, but I was glad that the Yankees came out. They were struggling offensively, and we all know they were outstanding. They scored, 23 runs, right, in those 2 games?
They scored 12 the first game.
Now they scored 13.
Yeah,
No,
they scored.
It was 12 to 3 the first game, so they scored 21. Because I know, did they score 9 the second game?
So the first game. Oh yeah, the first game was 12 to 3.
3, and then it was 11 or 10 to 9.
And then 10 to 9. So, they were great in those 2 games, and the pitching could have been a little better. But Garrett Cole was great, so I was impressed by that. Not surprised by the Rays. They came out. They looked really good, so I'm looking forward to that series coming up. And I was hoping that the White Sox would do it, but definitely not surprised to see that Oakland, they came out, they won in their home ballpark. And then we mentioned the other 2 series, the Padres. I'm looking forward to that game, seeing if we have another game on that game's today. So I'm looking forward to seeing who's moving on for that. But it was just a great week of the postseason.
One series we haven't touched on is the Dodgers-Brewers series. It kind of happened in a blink of an eye. And the most surprising thing for me is Kershaw coming out and absolutely dealing against the Brewers. I mean, 13 strikeouts last night. We have not seen this Kershaw. He's a profound playoff choker. And the evidence is there in the past. And for him to come out this playoffs and absolutely deal like he hasn't done this season or even last season, that's a great sign for the Dodgers. I think they're going to absolutely roll, and they'll finally hoist that World Series trophy. What do you guys think?
That's who I have winning my bracket is the Dodgers.
I'm going to disagree with you because Yankees looked great. We can talk about all the inconsistencies and whatever, but the Yankees look great. Aaron Judge put one out. Stanton put one out when it looked like he barely swung the bat.
They put a couple out in the series too, which was really nice to see.
Gary Sanchez got going in the second game. Gio Urshela, maybe the most electrifying player on the Yankees team. It's a grand slam and then has an incredible stop for a double play at third base. I mean, all credit to him. I don't know. I think the Yankees they're coming into the postseason. They want to prove something because there was a lot of talk down on them towards the end of the regular season. And they don't agree with that, obviously. And they're coming in the postseason to prove something. They feel like they have to prove something. And they came out against Cleveland in a series where a lot of people picked the Indians and proved to MLB why they are a World Series favorite.
Yeah, I think you both made a lot of really good points. But Kershaw for sure. Mike, I mean, you're right. He hasn't done well in the postseason at all in his career. And for him to come out like that, that's really encouraging. But I'm going to agree with Connor in terms of the big picture here. I think that the Yankees are in really good shape right now. And I just think they needed the postseason. They needed the stakes to be a little higher. maybe they weren't playing as well because, there wasn't a lot of pressure in the regular season with the expanded playoffs. But like you said, Connor, they came out ready to go. Gio Urshela, I mean, you can't say enough about him. That grand slam when they were down 4-1 gives them the lead. And I believe he tied the game as well, if I'm not mistaken. The ninth inning, he had that infield single, right? Up the middle.
The Tide.
I thought that was LeMahieu with the
ninth.
No. I think Sanchez hit the
Sanchez hit the sack fly that Urshela scored on.
and
Okay.
then LeMahieu hit the ball up the middle to take the lead.
That's right. And you can't say enough about DJ LeMahieu. He just always comes through in the clutch. So, it was a great week, but it's going to be even better next week. And it's going to be interesting. We've talked about before, but with the new format, they're going to play every day.
Is the next series 5 games or 7 games?
The DS is 5 games, so they're going to play Monday to Friday, which, that's different. Normally you can rest your pitchers, so we'll see how the managers handle that, but it's going to be fun.
Is Garrett Cole oh wait, no, he's going to have rest this weekend. I was going to see if the Rays, somehow get a chance to sweep the Yankees. I wasn't sure if Garrett Cole was going to be able to come out and pitch game 3, but he will with this time off this weekend. But I honestly think the Rays are going to beat the Yankees. I think they've had the Yankees number this whole season. I don't see that changing in the postseason. I know the Yankees have all the talent, but I'm going to go off what I know, and what I know is that the Tampa Bay Rays absolutely dominate the New York Yankees.
Well, we can talk about this more next week once we have all the guaranteed division series topics. I mean, there's definitely so much to look forward to. Postseason baseball is one of the best times of the year, so a lot to look forward to. I know Tommy's excited. I'm very excited. Mike, his Mets are sitting at home, so he doesn't have much to watch.
We're saving on the golf course for the Yanks. Don't worry.
Okay, they'll be there with their 28th World Series title. It's okay.
Oh, only 20 now?
28. No, he said 28.
I heard 20. Matt, you heard 20, right?
No, I heard 28.
I honestly heard 20, but whatever. Continue.
I think that's pretty much going to wrap up the MLB segment. You guys kind of heard what we have to say. We're going to move into a depleted NBA Finals.
Welcome back to Go Chat. Thank you for sticking around, and we're going to talk about some NBA Finals right now. The Heat got off to a bad start against the Lakers. Lakers dominated them to 116-98 win for the Lakers. The Heat are a little banged up now. Bam is out for game 2, which is tonight, the day that we're recording, Friday. We won't know how that's going to turn out, but we're just going to talk about what we thought was going to happen going into the series, and talk about if our thoughts have changed after game 1. So I'll start off with the Heat fan. Connor.
What
are your thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts. I was texting you guys throughout the game, and I was just saying simple things. I'm annoyed. I'm disappointed. You know what? Here's the thing, is the Heat have a lot of talent. They do, but the talent isn't going to be out there on the floor. Bam Adebayo's out. Jimmy Butler hurt himself. Goran Dragic is out. So, I mean, right there is 3 of your top scorers that have been able to play well in the postseason. If the Heat are going to have a chance in the series, they're going to need Tyler Hero to step up even more, Jay Crowder to step up even more. I mean, who's going to play center for him? Myers Leonard?
Kelly Olynyk.
Who really haven't played the postseason. They haven't played much. So, I mean, we could even see the Heat going into a small ball lineup where they have Crowder playing the center with Iguodala out there. And then Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and I guess Kendrick Nunn or Jimmy Butler if Jimmy Butler's able to play. I don't know. I think with the small ball lineup, Anthony Davis and LeBron James are going to absolutely manhandle. I came into the series thinking that the Heat had a legitimate chance to win in 7 because they were just riding the wave and kept riding the wave. Now I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers win in 4, which is really upsetting. But I just think LeBron has all the momentum now, and he's not going to stop. He wants another title.
Matt, what do you think? You agree with Connor, or you got some of your own thoughts?
Originally, I had Lakers in 6. If you look at intentionally foul, you can see what we had. But I had Lakers in 6. I think Lakers will sweep now. I'm not discrediting the Heat at all, like you said, they had injuries. But the Lakers are just a different breed. They're a different breed than the other teams that the Heat have played. I just think LeBron he's so hungry for that championship, and when the Clippers were out, it seemed like that was LeBron's just time to shine. And I would call it kind of a coincidence. Well, a coincidence that, if you guys saw, like, comparing to Kobe's last ring or whatever, I don't know which one it was, but he played Houston, then went to Denver, and then won it overall in Orlando. So, which obviously where the finals is going to be played the whole time. So it's just kind of a coincidence, in my opinion. But LeBron's a different breed. He is.
Tommy, what you got in the series so far? What have you seen?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Matt and Connor on this one. I think that the Heat might win a game. Originally, I had the Lakers in 7, I think. And like you mentioned, the injuries, that's going to be hard to overcome for them. If they had everybody healthy, they definitely could win it, I think. But I think it's going to be the Lakers easily, I think. But I still think that they have enough talent to win maybe a game. But you said it, Matt. LeBron wants this. He wants another title to add to his resume, and I don't think he's going to be stopped. I think the Lakers are going to win in 5 now is my pick.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing because I originally thought that the Heat were going to win this series in 7, if not 6. I just thought the Heat were playing perfect basketball coming in, and that none of the 3 teams that they played before have been able to stop them, because they literally made every single shot down the stretch. They made every single possession, every single decision on their last possession perfect. And that was what was surprising me, and that's why I doubted them the whole time. But I bought into that. And unfortunately, with Bam and Dragic out, I think Bam and Dragic, they've been their 2 best players this whole playoffs. Jimmy Butler has been great, but Dragic has been their leading scorer, and Bam has been that defensive anchor for them in the middle. And his pick and roll game is just so huge for them. So I think those 2 are huge blows. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers swept. It's kind of tough because I want to see LeBron, have some more competition for in the finals for his 4th ring, but he's going to get it now. And Matt, I think you're right. Once he saw that the Clippers were eliminated, he kind of turned into gear. I think the Clippers are still the only team, regardless of how bad they played in the last 3 games of that series against Denver, that would have given the Lakers a run for their money. I personally think that the Clippers would have beat the Lakers. Obviously, that's never going to happen until next year. Lakers, if LeBron somehow blows this, I'll just say that right now, that's going to be a bigger choke job than 2011. I mean, it's not going to happen. No one in the world is predicting it now, but Lakers have this in the bag. I hope the Heat put up some sort of a fight, though.
I would say one thing, though, is, I know how good of a coach Eric Spoelstra is, and he knows how significant Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic were, no doubt. But he also knows that at the end of the day, he has other guys around his team that can play good basketball. And once he heard that Bam was doubtful for game 2, once he heard that Goran Dragic's diagnosis was something with his ankle, I don't exactly know what it was, he went to the drawing board. He pulled out his pen and paper, and he tried to do some stuff to game plan now with his updated team for game 2. No, it's not the team that was out there the entire playoffs, and no, it's not the team that was even out there for their first run in the first quarter and a half of the NBA Finals game 1. But it's still a team that is capable of being in the NBA Finals, and Eric Spoelstra is one hell of a coach. I wouldn't be surprised if they came out here and they did make this a series. Now, I am saying the Lakers sweep, but I would not be surprised if this is still a series, simply because of Eric Spoelstra's coaching.
I think at the end of the day, coaching can only provide so much. I mean, who's going to guard Anthony Davis? Bam was having a little bit of trouble guarding Anthony Davis. He's by far your best option for guarding Anthony Davis. If you put Iguodala or Crowder on him, they're too small. If you bring someone off the bench like Olynyk or even Udonis Haslem, I don't think he's played a minute this whole playoffs, but he's a pretty big dude. They're way too slow for Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis is going to take over the series and win Finals MVP.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a good prediction, I would think. I think he's gonna play great. Any final, I know this is eating away at Connor. He's like, let's get this over.
Dude, it's really unfortunate that Bam and Dragic were hurt. I was excited for this series, but we'll see what Spoelstra does. Jesus Christ. Hopefully he'll pull something out of his bag of tricks.
I think the Heat have a very bright future ahead too.
Yes, and they could definitely build off of this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Connor looks like he's done. He's ready to get over this one with to another one that might eat him away. We will see you guys next. Welcome back to Go Chat. We are back here with talk about the New York Jets and that Thursday night football game. If anyone didn't watch it, they lost 37-28 to Brett Rypien and the Denver Broncos. I think Rypien threw two picks.
Three.
Yeah. So, and a pick six too. But let's talk about the Jets. I mean, Connor, I'm not trying to get you to start to hate us this whole episode, but I mean, what do you have to say about the Jets? Adam Gase, should he be fired? I know we talked about it before. And then ultimately, is Sam Darnold the guy that you want to see?
These are very in-depth questions, and I'll try to keep this quick. Adam Gase does not deserve to have a job in the National Football League. Whether it's as a head coach, as an offensive coordinator, or anything. Because we saw Sam Darnold came into the NFL. Todd Bowles was still the coach of the Jets. He had a pretty good first season. The team was 3-3, and then he got hurt, and then they dropped to 4-9, I think. And then he came back they were 3-9, and then he won one of the last 3 games to get them to 4-12 that season, which I mean isn't good. And then Adam Gase comes in his second year, looked okay the first game, goes out with mono, comes back, he wins 6 of the last 8. They're like, okay, maybe we got something here. He comes back out year 3 and has just completely regressed. The offense looks awful. They're running the ball on first down, calling a screen pass on second down, and then having Sam Darnold run out of the pocket on third down. There's nothing. The 2-point conversion play last night, they had Sam Darnold roll out 20 yards to the right. That takes away 3/4 of the field. That's just an awful play call. Adam Gase is doing a terrible job as this head coach, and there's no reason for him to be coaching anymore. As for Sam Darnold, he is the quarterback of the New York Jets. There is without a doubt in my mind he is the quarterback of the New York Jets, and there should be no discussions about it. He's doing everything he can to do stuff back there. He broke out of how many sacks last night? He ran the ball 46 yards down the field for a touchdown after he was pretty much taken down in the backfield. He threw for 230 yards and ran for 86. He had 300 total all-purpose yards, and he's doing what he can with the talent that he has around him. Look at his wide receivers. Jamison Crowder was back last night, which was a very big piece for him. But I mean, he's still throwing to Jeff Smith. Who's that? Braxton Berrios, Chris Hogan. Chris Herndon hasn't been found out there all season. And Frank Gore, the 37-year-old running back, is their starter. There's nothing around Sam Darnold. So we cannot put blame on Sam until his talent gets back. Get Le'Veon Bell back in the backfield. Get Denzel Mims. Get Brashad Perriman. And then if Sam still is not playing well, okay, fine. Give him some of the blame. But right now, all of this blame goes on Adam Gase and Christopher Johnson.
Mike, what do you think?
Is Chris Johnson their offensive coordinator?
Chris Johnson's the owner.
Oh, okay. I have no clue. I'm sorry. But listen, the Jets have thoroughly pissed me off after last night's blunder of a game. I believed in the Jets to come out and beat the second-string Broncos. I mean, seriously, the Broncos are absolutely battered with injuries. They have 50 million plus on their IR right now. 20 million than the second most valuably injured team, the Cowboys.
Jets.
Can you let me finish?
But you're saying how much the cap space they have on their injury list. So do the Jets.
I'm saying the Broncos have an extreme amount on their IR. They have 20 million more than any other team. You aren't even letting me get to my point. Let me make my point. I'm saying if you told me coming to this game that Brett Rypien would throw 3 picks, one of them being a pick 6, and somehow the Jets lose this game, it's absolutely miserable. Adam Gase is the worst coach in the NFL right now. I mean, those play calls on 3rd and 3 and 4th and 3, you can't gain 3 yards on 2 downs. Absolutely embarrassing. The offensive line for the Jets, 5 new offensive linemen. They were horrible last night. Mekhi Becton has played pretty well for them, but their interior and the right side has been miserable. 6 sacks and 10 quarterback hits. I mean,
when we talk about the offensive line, can we talk about how 3/4 of it was injured last night? Mekhi Becton didn't play.
oh, he didn't?
He didn't. George Fant went down with an injury. The only starting person on their line last night was their center. That's it. So if we're going to talk about injuries, let's qualify for the Jets too. It's not just the Broncos.
Didn't Becton play and then get hurt? Oh.
No, Becton did not play the first drive. Then the backup who started for Becton got hurt. So then Becton went in, played 1 play, and then he went out with a shoulder injury. They tried to rush him back, and that's what happens.
Okay. Yeah, and all the Jets wide receivers are hurt. Adam Gase is a horrible play caller. I don't know how many flats he's going to throw on the field. I don't know why he doesn't stretch the ball more vertically down the field. He's throwing passes that are shorter than 5 yards. Sam Darnold is almost nothing to blame for this. You've seen glimpses of him being fantastic, that 46-yard run. I mean, you could go back to his throw last week against the Colts where he rolled out to the right and escaped a sack, threw a touchdown, or against the 49ers, I think, where he escaped a sack, rolled out to the left, threw across his body to I'm not sure what receiver was coming across the field, the opposite direction, and threw it on the dot, right? Sam Darnold is nothing to blame for this. The Jets just – right now, their roster is the worst in the league. Sam Darnold has nothing to do with this. The Jets probably will get the first pick. I suggest that they trade out for that and get at least 2 picks in the top 10. They need talent on their roster. That's it.
Go ahead, Matt. Give us your take on this.
Tommy, do you want to give your take first, or do you want me to?
Well, I agree. I just think that the Jets are in trouble right now. I mean, I think it's time for Adam Gase to move on from the Jets. And like you said, Connor, I don't think that Sam Darnold is like the problem yet. Obviously, he's not playing quite up to where they would want him to be. There's room to improve there. But I still think that he can be a good quarterback for them. And yeah, I just think it's time to move on from this coach here, Adam Gase. And I don't know. They'll get back there someday, but it's not right now.
Yeah, I mean, just go off everything that you guys said. Adam Gase should be fired. The Jets team is awful. The injuries, yep. But regarding Sam Darnold, I don't think it's his fault at all. I'm not gonna come out here and say that, but if you have the first pick, you can't pass up on Trevor Lawrence. I would trade Sam Darnold and get Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is gonna fix all the problems on the Jets, but I think that Trevor Lawrence has a better upside than keeping Sam Darnold. And think about what you could get for Sam Darnold too.
What would you get for Sam Darnold?
I don't know.
At this point right now, you're not getting a first-round pick. Maybe not even a second-round pick. Where if they get
you're definitely getting at least a second.
If they get the first overall pick and they trade down, they're adding another first-round pick this season. They'll have that one and then this one they have from Seattle. Then they'll maybe get another first next year. It's more than worth it. Sam Darnold is the answer to the Jets. He really is. He's the quarterback of the New York Jets, and there's no doubt about it.
Okay, but it's Trevor Lawrence.
Joe Douglas came in as this general manager and is trying to build around Sam Darnold. which is why he traded Jamal Adams. Among of Jamal Adams' problems, it was the salary cap that he wanted because he wants that extra salary to build around his franchise quarterback.
I don't even think Sam Darnold's a bad quarterback. That's not what I'm coming on here to say, but I'm saying it's Trevor Lawrence. He was one of the most hyped college prospects. He's literally won every game except one in his college career. He is going to live up to every expectation that you want, and I honestly think he's going to be more hyped than Joe Burrow coming in this draft. I don't think any team that's contending for like the bottom spots should pass up on Trevor Lawrence, except the Bengals maybe, since they already got Joe Burrow. I truly, truly don't think that the Jets should pass up on Trevor Lawrence.
If the Jets do get the first pick, what if, just listen to me for a second, Connor, right? We've seen the effect that Joe Burrow has had on the Bengals. They've at least made the Bengals – he's at least made the Bengals a competitive team. They do not have a good offensive line. Somehow the Bengals are competing. I thought Joe Burrow was going to have a really bad season. His offensive line is terrible. He does have some weapons, and the situation probably isn't as bad as the Jets would be next year with Trevor Lawrence coming in. But maybe he would have that same kind of effect where he'll at least make the Jets, relevant again, competitive in games. Because right now they're not doing that.
I'm not ready, and I speak for a lot of Jets fans who say, we're not ready to give up on Sam Darnold. What have we really seen that is true to give up on? He has a decent touchdown to interception ratio. He's showing signs of true excellence. The run last night, I was screaming at my television. I've never seen that from Sam Darnold before. The throw that he made last week to Braxton Berrios and the throw that he made the week before against San Francisco to Braxton Berrios. Who is Braxton Berrios is the question. He's a nobody receiver in the NFL, and Sam Darnold's making him look good.
I'm not an NFL GM or anything, but if you have that first pick, unless I'm wowed by a trade, like unbelievable trade.
Imagine what some teams would have done to get Joe Burrow last year. I think it's probably going to be more with Trevor Lawrence, honestly. The Jets can trade out of that spot, draft Jamar Chase, probably draft another offensive lineman. Then they got the Seattle pick, and they'll have picks from years to come. So I think you have two really good options, whether you go with Lawrence or you trade out of that spot and get a boatload of picks.
I truly think Trevor Lawrence is going to be one of the best by the end of the next decade. Like I've said, when we had that one segment, I truly, truly think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be an unbelievable talent that we're not going to see for a while.
And I think he may be a bust.
I know you think he's a bust. I don't get why.
I don't know.
I think that kind of wraps up this segment. We went pretty in-depth on this. We don't want to keep you here for too long. Does anyone have any last-minute thoughts before we move into our pickup segment?
This has been an awful episode. I really don't like you guys.
Jets signed Dabo Sweeney as your head coach and draft Trevor Lawrence.
Okay, let's move into the pick'em segment.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are here with the pick'em segment. Really the only segment that I can be happy about on this episode today because I still am in first place. Though, Matt Cain's making a bit of a surge. Matt Cain is now in second, and Mike Buetti has fallen all the way down to last. He's had a couple bad weeks. Matt's had a couple good weeks. That just shows how quick this can change. We're going to start with a college football game. I know this is something new. Me and Matt are big supporters of college football. Obviously, Mike and Tommy aren't too involved in it, but this is a big game, too good that we can't pass up. It's going to be Auburn versus Georgia. They're both ranked. I don't know what Matt is laughing at.
Tommy felt dissed after that.
I actually do. I follow college football pretty closely. I love it. It's so much fun. Yeah.
I didn't know that. The only sport I thought you liked was baseball.
No, I follow it after baseball ends, so I'm not following it too much right now. But once the Yankees, their season's over, I'm going to follow it all the time.
Gotcha. Well, maybe you can start off hot. We have Auburn versus Georgia. Obviously, I'm going to be the one to go first here. I think Auburn's going to win this game. Auburn is going to win. I just think they're a good team. They're a really good team. Not saying Georgia isn't, but I don't know. Auburn's better coached. Matt.
You think Auburn's better coached?
Dean,
Who's their coach again?
Oh, what is his name?
I don't remember his name.
Is it Les Miles?
I don't know. While you look that up, I know because Georgia's Kirby Smart, but
yeah.
Oh no, it's Gus Malzahn.
okay.
Gus
So,
Malzahn. What a coach.
um,
So good, Connor knew his name.
so you think he's better than Kirby Smart?
Yeah. I don't like Georgia football.
I mean, I'm not a huge fan, but Kirby Smart is actually
Go.
is a very good coverage.
Go ahead, Matt.
All right, I'm gonna go with Auburn too. I kind of wish you went with Georgia. I'm not comfortable going with Georgia myself after having a very slow start against Arkansas last week, and then I don't even think they know what quarterback they're gonna start. They obviously should start Bennett over Mathis, but Bo Nix, he was a great freshman last year. I'm expecting a lot from this kid, so I'm gonna go Auburn.
Mike, who's your pick? Nope, it's not Mike. It's Tommy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Georgia. I almost went with Auburn in this one, but it's at home, so I think that's going to help them out. But it's going to be a great game, 4 against 7. So I'm looking forward to that primetime matchup. But I'm going to take Georgia because they're at home this week.
Mike, your surge back could start with this game. Who are you picking?
You know what? I'm going to take advantage of you guys going with Auburn because thankfully I'm going to go with Georgia here. They are the higher ranked team, and you could call rankings what you want, but I do think they have some sort of meaning right now. And Matt, you were saying that Georgia got off to a slow start against Arkansas, but yet they beat them 37-10. I think that's pretty impressive if you get off to a slow start. But I'm going with Georgia here. I think regardless of who they start, I think they'll win this game. So, and I think Kirby Smart will outcoach whoever the heck coaches Auburn. Connor, you remember his name?
Gus Malzahn.
Oh, there you go.
Les Miles used to be the coach for Auburn, which is why I thought of that. I just thought he had stayed with the program longer. Now we're going to move into NFL games. We have a battle of 2 0-3 teams. Not the battle of 2 0-3 teams that you saw on Thursday Night Football. These are two very good teams in the Minnesota Vikings and the Houston Texans. I think this pick's very easy for me. Houston's going to get their first win here in Week 4. Matt?
This is such a tough call. Just because I'm going with Houston because that's why I had, but I can totally see the Vikings winning. I don't know. I just go with Houston. Don't make me second guess myself.
Tommy, what's your pick?
I'm going to go with Houston. I agree with you. I think that Deshaun Watson's going to get him a win this week. Not too much to say about it. I just think that they're going to kind of break out of their slide here and they're going to win this weekend.
Mike, your face when Matt picked the Texans means me think that you're also picking the Texans?
Yeah, but Matt, I mean, if you want to catch up to Connor, you got to pick something different. And if you really think the game's going to be that close, you might as well just go with Minnesota.
Mike, I don't need advice, dude. I went 4-0 last week, 3-1 the week before.
Mike, you're on the bottom. There's no reason for you to be giving off any advice.
Okay. It was the first time I've even sniffed this spot, okay? Let's not get too ahead of ourselves here. I'm going with Houston. I think Houston's going to absolutely destroy Minnesota. Minnesota hasn't practiced all week due to the coronavirus outbreak with the Tennessee Titans. And I think Deshaun Watson is going to absolutely shred the Minnesota secondary. They haven't been good. And add that on to Minnesota not practicing this week, I think it's going to be a blowout.
Now we're going to move to the 2-1 Colts versus the 3-0 Bears, now being led by Nick Foles. This is going to be a good game. I'm a big believer in the Bears. I don't see them going to 4-0 here. I'm going to go with the Colts. I think the Colts defense is going to ride them through this game. Matt, you're acting pretty excited.
Nick Foles. This is going to be a good game. I'm going to go with Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears. He came out, threw 3 touchdowns, looked absolutely amazing. Kind of hurts me as a Packers fan because I'm a fan of Nick Foles. He's a great guy. I mean, what can you say bad about the guy? But not going to say his previously nickname that I've said before because I just don't want to do all that editing work. But I'm going to go with the Bears here.
Tommy.
I'm not sure. I've been going back and forth with this one, but I agree with you, Connor. I think that the Bears, they're pretty good this year, but I don't think they're good enough to go 4-0. So I'm going to go with the Colts this week.
And Mike?
I agree. I'm going with the Colts here. I think big blank Nick is gonna shrivel up and he's not gonna win this week. Obviously, I'm not gonna say the name of his actual nickname. I'm not gonna have Matt do all the work here, but I think by the term of me using shrivel up, I think you know what that name is. Anyways, I think the Colts are winning this game. No shot that Bears go 3-0. To be honest, they were lucky they were playing the Falcons last week, or else they would be 2-1. I'm going with the Colts here.
Well, guys, I think that's going to wrap up a really good episode. There is going to be another pick'em on the graphic. It's going to be Game 3 of the NBA Finals. It's just that Game 2 is happening tonight. We don't want to pick that one, so we're going to pick Game 3 for you. Also, one more mention. Monday is Matt's birthday. We're not going to be meeting with him again until Tuesday, obviously. So I think we all just want to wish Matt a big happy birthday. He's done a lot of editing. He does a lot of behind the scenes stuff here for Goat Chat. So we all appreciate him and we hope he has a good birthday.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about in our interview with Brandon Sports Talk. Link will be in the description. No, I don't know if it'll be. It was on the last one, but Matt Cain, he's done everything for this podcast. He's helped us grow on every platform, Instagram, TikTok. We haven't posted on there too much. But he helped us grow to where we are today. So big happy birthday to Matt Cain.
Definitely big happy birthday to him. He does all the editing and pretty much the large chunk of our social media work. So definitely big shout out to Matt. But don't worry, Matt, we'll be in class Monday all night for your birthday.
Oh my God. During the Packers game, it's just, I don't want to talk about it, but
I do also want to mention that you do see that our logo is now pink. That is for October and for breast cancer awareness. Obviously, all of us here strive to hope that we can one day find a cure. I know that my aunt is currently battling the disease, and I believe Matt's mom, she beat the disease, correct?
yeah.
So, I mean, those are two incredible tasks. My aunt's just going to keep fighting, and obviously all the power to Matt's mom for beating the fight. And there's a link in our description on Instagram where you can go to donate to the awareness for breast cancer. And some of the other fellow podcasts on Instagram have also joined the fight, so we truly appreciate all them. We just hope that one day we can find a cure for this awful disease.
Yep. And just whatever way you guys can do, whether it's spreading awareness, donate, just anything is a huge help, to become aware of this and to try to find a cure ultimately for everything that going out there, just branching off breast cancer and stuff.
Well, that's going to wrap up a really good episode. Number 40, it's a big number. We're happy to bring it to you. We're just going to keep plugging and chugging. We will see you guys on Wednesday.
Peace.